What is truth? TV podcast. What is truth? Let's take it to the live stream. Tell me what is truth? TV podcast. What is truth? Let's take it to the live stream.
All right. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the What is Truth podcast, a Sunday edition. What's up, Ashley? What's up, Stephanie, Roscoe, Coltrane, the lovely Miss Hev, of course, Secret Squirrel, Miss Two. Hope you guys are doing good and exquisite in the neighborhood. This is my first live stream on YouTube in a few weeks, I believe. That doesn't mean that I have been inactive. As a matter of fact, I have been super busy. I've been busy on Odysee. The Odysee Channel keeps growing day by day. We had a slew of awesome episodes in the last week. Did one with Ryan Dawson. If you guys know who he is, you guys will not want to miss that show. That was one of my funnest shows that I've done. Did one with Chris Matthews of Forbidden Knowledge News, and had Corey Hughes on a few times, and he's invited me onto his shows. Awesome stuff on that side of the interweb. So link will be in the description. Make sure you guys check it out and follow me there. You can also find the What is Truth podcast on wherever your podcast player of your choice may be, Apple, iTunes, Spotify. If you do listen to the show on those platforms, please leave a review and rating, and I will highly appreciate it. All right, so why are we here doing a show on Joe Rogan? Well, if you've been paying attention, you may have a clue, so I will be giving my personal thoughts and insights into it all. If you haven't been paying attention to the whole situation, that will be my job to try to catch you up on it, and that way you stay on top of things, you know what I'm saying? So, being that we are here on YouTube, I will try to curtail my adult language, but I will not curtail this. Gosh darn it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Shout out to all the wokesters. All right. So, Joe Rogan is a jack of all trades. He is a sports commentator. He is a comedian. He is a podcaster. I guess you can say an actor. He's been on a couple of shows, reality TV shows host. He's done quite a bit. And I first heard of Joe Rogan through the Fear Factor show that came out on TV. Whatever. I didn't think much of the show. I thought the show was a little crazy with some of the stuff that they were performing, like drinking certain fluids from animals and such. And then I've been a huge fan of mixed martial arts, and I followed him there. I wasn't a huge fan of his yelling. He was a colorful commentator. He still is a commentator for the UFC. And whenever he gets excited, he starts yelling, kind of like me. I get excited. So I guess it's a similar thing, but it would kind of annoy me if I'm being 100% honest. And I can't remember when. It might have been a controversy around in 2015 or so. They've been trying to cancel him for quite a while, quite some time. But in 2015, he had some guests that were controversial, and having these controversial guests, these controversial quote unquote conversations with people is what got the media talking about his show, and that's how coincidentally I found out about his show. So there's probably some of you listening that have never listened to a Joe Rogan podcast. Maybe you've tuned in to some snippets here and there. As soon as I found out his show in 2015 or so, it was 2015, 2016, I can't remember exactly when, but his episodes were in the 700s. So you may think that I came late to the show, but given the fact that he's like in episode almost near 2000 now, that's not too late in the game. And I have been a religious follower of the Joe Rogan podcast since then. I listened to every episode, and I couldn't believe that I could sit there and listen to someone have these conversations for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. The longer, the better for me. Given the nature of my work, having these long form conversations was new to me and something that I enjoyed. The fact that Joe Rogan could have someone that was super liberal on his show and have a 3-4 hour conversation that was entertaining and fun was awesome. The fact that he could have someone that was a super right-wing conservative and have these 3 hour, 4 hour conversations and make them fun showed me that he had talent in the podcasting world. He would always talk about being a comedian, so I checked out some of his comedy, and personally speaking, I thought his comedy fell flat. I didn't like his style of jokes. I didn't like his comedy at all. However, as a UFC commentator, as a podcast host, he is on top of that game. Obviously, listening to his awesome conversations and talking to interesting people, that's what inspired me into doing my podcast a few years ago, going on 3 years now. I dreamt of having my show. I dreamt of inviting interesting people to talk to, having awesome conversations. I dreamt about that, and it's all thanks to this guy right here, Mr. Joe Rogan himself. He inspired me to do that, and I am nowhere even close. I'm an ant in his intergalactic world. But nonetheless, I've been able to have some awesome guests over the span of a couple years. I've been able to have some awesome conversations, some epic moments. And it's all in due thanks to this man right here, Mr. Joe Rogan. He inspired me. The other man I want to thank is Ricky Varandas, host of the Ripple Effect podcast. He was another key instrumental figure that pushed me down this path. So to see the media now trying to real hard in trying to shut him down, in trying to cancel him, it's really disturbing. And I'm going to show you a couple of the reasons as to why I believe that this is being done on purpose. It's all there. And a lot of the times when you see these things, the simple question you have to do is, or the simple thing you got to do is follow the money. Now, this is nothing new. Like I said, I first came across Joe Rogan a few years ago, and it was due to another controversy over him having a simple, casual conversation with someone deemed controversial. And I think it was Milo Yiannopoulos, something like that. He had said some controversial things on that episode, and that's really what that attention, that attempt in trying to cancel his show, even then, I was like, let me make my own decision. because they were saying Joe Rogan is this, Joe Rogan platforms these people. I wanted to make my own damn decision. And so I listened to that episode and I thought it was awesome. And I have become a religious follower of the Joe Rogan podcast ever since. I don't miss a show. I listen to every single hour or every minute. So you can say that I've listened to hundreds, maybe thousands of hours of Joe Rogan Experience shows. Why am I saying that? Well, I think I would be curious to know how these people that are slandering Joe Rogan right now, these people trying to cancel him, trying to paint him as a racist, a homophobe, a transphobe, a chauvinist, and all these isms, I would be truly curious to know the percentage of those same people slandering this man and find out how many entire episodes of Joe Rogan shows they have listened to. There's no study on it. There's no way to find out the numbers, but I would be highly surprised if a high number of these people actually listen to Joe Rogan episodes. And instead, I think it's more likely that a lot of these people speaking ill of Joe Rogan and trying to get him canceled are people that have heard little snippets here and there that have been taken out of context, or heard snippets from another person that has beef with him. Essentially secondhand, third-hand information. And I bet you the vast majority of the people speaking ill about this man fall in that category. I would be willing to bet a shit ton of money, because if you listen to Joe Rogan, you consume his content, you would never ever get that feeling that he is a racist, a homophobe, a transphobe, whatever ism you want to put behind it. It's simply false. And there is nothing to it. All it is a coordinated hit job, because Joe decides to talk to people on both ends of the spectrum. He's not amplifying one end of the spectrum or the other end. He gives everyone an equal opportunity to express themselves. And it is for that the witch hunt is on. And it has been on for several years, but I think these last couple of weeks have really shown the media, the mainstream media, for their true colors. And it's no secret, Joe Rogan puts up numbers far greater than any of these clowns. And I'm sure that is not a coincidence as to why they're trying to silence him. Let me show you the numbers here. All right. So this is a chart, Q3 2021 media ratings. Average viewers per show in the millions. The source is Nielsen, Spotify. The Joe Rogan Experience averages about 11 million downloads per episode. Tucker Carlson is in second place at just over 3 million. The Five at just under 3 million. Hannity under 3 million. So it's not even close as to who the people gravitate to. You look down the list, Fox News, then you have Rachel Maddow, MSNBC, and at the very bottom of the list, CNN. And out of all the people smearing Joe Rogan and dragging him through the mud. Out of all the entities, the loudest one, I'll let you guess who that is. It's CNN. I'm going to give you guys a few examples of these hit pieces, these slander jobs. And I wanted to start off by showing you guys this chart right here, because it will solidify my theory. These CNN is in last place, irrelevant. And so right now, the only way they can be somewhat relevant is by bringing up Joe Rogan's name. This sounds very similar to a character that we all have come to know as Uncle Terrence. Uncle Terrence has been pulling Don Lemons like CNN. We know that this person gropes men in bathrooms, puts questionable content up on BitChute featuring naked kids. This is a certified creep. And the only way this person stays relevant is by slandering other people, whether it's myself, other people, other channels. Meanwhile, the skeletons in this creep's closet are many. But I will not get into that tonight. If you guys want that content, go over to Odysee. I have a video called What Constitutes as Hate Speech, where I break down this person who portrays himself as some kind of anti-cyber bullying campaigner. So watching Joe Rogan go through this, I can relate to a lot of this. It's all nonsense, slanderous hit jobs by these deceitful scumbags. CNN has had high-level resignations involving pedophilia recently. Uncle Terrence type of stuff. And they act like they are on the moral high ground. How dare these clowns? This is scummy behavior on both of these situations. All right, so let me get into some CNN articles to, okay, this is funny. So let me show, yeah, all right, my Twitter is in the description, so if you guys got Twitter, please follow me on Twitter and help me retweet things, like the things, and spread these things far and away. But I'm so glad I screenshotted this on my Twitter and I posted it. Joe Rogan's use of the N-word is another January 6th moment. Why am I happy I screenshotted it and I put it on Twitter? Because CNN then changed the title to that very same article to this. Now, instead of using that title, CNN says, why shrugging off Joe Rogan's use of the N-word is so dangerous. Really? This is CNN at work. So let's go back to the original title. Joe Rogan's use of the N-word is another January 6th moment. When you want to talk about, see, a lot of people were talking about deplatforming Joe Rogan for misinformation. How many times can these mainstream quote-unquote sources get away with misinformation? Who sold us the weapons of mass destructions to go into Iraq? Who sold us these countless lies? And yet they never, ever get held accountable. CNN, a few months ago, went after Joe Rogan after he came down with the sickness that's going around. and they were writing articles telling people that he had received horse dewormer. This was a blatant lie, a blatant example of misinformation. And guess what happened to CNN? Nothing. You want to talk about dangerous misinformation? These guys have to be held accountable. And apparently, they are not held accountable, and they could get away with any goddamn thing they want. So let's read this article, whose title was changed in just a couple of hours. Updated at 1:50 p.m. Eastern time. So a couple hours ago, they changed this title. This is today, Sunday, February 13th, 2022. All right. From CNN. The podcaster Joe Rogan did not join a mob that forced lawmakers to flee for their lives. He never carried a Confederate flag inside the U.S. Capitol Rotunda. No one died trying to stop him from using the N-word. But what Rogan and those that defend him have done since video clips of him using the N-word surfaced on social media is arguably just as dangerous as what a mob did when they stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6th last year. Let's break that down real quick. This is largely offensive and slanderous on so many goddamn levels. Joe Rogan's use of the N-word was completely taken out of context. He was either quoting a comedian, a black African-American comedian, Richard Pryor, or giving certain examples, or even singing hip-hop songs that contain the word. In not one of any of these instances was it used with malicious intent. The very fact that we are living in times where people can clip these things and take them entirely out of context, and the vast majority of people will run with this, never do any research, any due diligence, and then make their conclusions. Oh my God, well, Joe Rogan is a racist. I want him canceled. This is the era that we are living in. I had a similar situation where I was discussing a U.S. president in the 1860s talk about how he felt about Mexicans and African Americans. And guess what word people used for African Americans in the 1860s? Yes, you guessed it. And I read this quote, and Uncle Terrence and her compatriots clipped that comment. And then they claim that I took down the podcast. No, the podcast is still on my shows. You can go back and listen to the early episodes. It is there in its entirety. But they clipped it out saying that I was racist against Mexicans and African Americans. And anyone with critical thinking skills would have laughed at that, because guess what? I am a Mexican American. The problem is, so many people will never engage any extra thinking steps and will run. And this is what's going on with this whole Joe Rogan controversy at this moment. People are running with this shit and not doing any other research into it at all. But these are the times we are living in, unfortunately. All right. Rogan breached a civic norm that has held America together since World War II. It's an unspoken agreement that we would never return to the kind of country we used to be. So dramatic, man. This article is making me laugh because you can see the hit job on display. That agreement revolved around this simple rule. A white person would never be able to publicly use the N-word again and not pay a price. Oh God, this is rich. All right. Rogan has so far paid no steep professional price for using a racial slur that's been called the nuclear bomb of racial epithets. It may even boost his career. That's what some say happened to another white entertainer who was recently caught using the N-word. Oh man, the reach by this what's his name? John Blake. God damn. You want the old reach around over here by Mr. Blake? Holy crap. God, this is comical to even read this. And what bothers me is you will have people read this garbage right here, and it will tug at their heartstrings.
Yes, Mr. Blake, I completely concur. He needs to be deplatformed now. I am so hurt. Come on, Mr. Blake. Come on, everyone. Let's do a Twitter mob and let's get Joseph Rogan deplatformed now.
This is the type of world and environment that we are living in, where people will read in that exact same voice. You may agree with me or disagree with me, but yeah, they'll do those kind of voices and try to get people deplatformed. Okay, and I'm gonna skip forward a little bit. You can find it on CNN by Mr. Blake, dated February 13, if you are listening to this on Spotify. Why Rogan's use of the N-word may not hurt his career. Some might say that comparing a podcaster's moronic musings about race to January 6th is hyperbole. They will invoke cancel culture and political correctness. That's exactly what it is, Mr. Blake. I would love to debate you on this. That's exactly what it is. What you are doing is being a little cameraman. He called his... Okay, the man apologized, they will say, and he did. He called his comments the most regretful and shameful thing, adding, I know that to most people, there's no context where a white person is ever allowed to say that word. Never mind publicly a podcast, and I agree with that, Rogan said after a video showed him using the N-word more than 20 times in different podcast episodes. Rogan has also apologized for a video of him comparing a gathering of black people to the Planet Apes. He said he is not racist. In the past, white public figures who used the N-word provoked universal and unqualified condemnation, but Rogan has gotten some support. Some? He's gotten a crap ton of support. I beg to differ, Mr. Blake. His comments drew criticism from Daniel Ek, chief executive of Spotify, which reportedly pays Rogan at least $100 million to carry his mega popular podcast. Ek said Rogan's racial slurs do not represent the values of the company, but Ek also said Spotify will continue to stand by Rogan, who had the most popular podcast on the streaming platform last year. All right, I'm not going to read the rest of this freaking garbage, but it's a clear hit job that has been going on for a while. And as I showed you at the very beginning, the numbers do not lie. CNN is at the bottom. Joe Rogan is at the top. And second place is a distant second. He is by far king of the hill. Now, we've had people. Neil Young is kind of what got this attention storm going. You know what? Let's change the little picture on the image there to show this clown here. What do we have here? All right. I worked hard on this thumbnail, so might as well use it right now. Bam. All right. So, Mr. Neil Young is a musician, older gentleman, not charismatic at all, but he pretty much gave Spotify an ultimatum saying that it was either Joe Rogan or him, but there was not room for both of them, so get rid of either one or the other. Spotify took Joe Rogan's side and started removing Neil Young's music. And that's why we have Spotify declaring Joe Rogan the winner of that self-inflicted cancellation by Neil Young. Ask and ye shall receive. Stupid prizes. So that happened, and as I thought, other cancel culture warriors joined in and decided to side with Neil Young, making this whole thing into a bigger issue than what should have ever been. But this is why I say the whole thing has been done purposely and crafted. We later found out that Neil Young, the people that pay Neil Young, are connected to Big Pharma. This isn't a theory, and because we are on YouTube, I don't feel comfortable saying the names, but they are. His boss is connected to Big Pharma, so you can surmise why they would have an issue with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has had doctors, scientists, and professionals on both sides of the current situation that we are globally facing, on both sides. However, the critics only focus on the doctors that they disagree with and they want him canceled for that. But these same people never talk about the other doctors that he's platformed that are in similar ways of thinking. So it's clear, because of him platforming the other side of the official narrative, that is the reason for the hit job. It's clear as day, everyone can see it. So the other thing that's been somewhat funny and hilarious is that you have other people coming out in support of Joe Rogan. And let me see if I can find a good example here. Let's see. There was a UFC fighter that came out in defense of Joe Rogan. Let's see if I can find. Okay. I found an article here. Okay. So, go away, ads. I don't want no ads.
A shot at the king, you better not miss. Cancel culture came for Joe Rogan last week. Rogan invited doctors on his podcast to discuss early treatment for COVID and preventative treatment, and the Pfizer-funded media went berserk. First, they said he was dangerous for spreading medical misinformation.
All right. Well, you heard some of that. I was trying to get it on the screen there, but it did not work. Israel Adesanya is a UFC fighter that was born in Nigeria, but he fights out of New Zealand and does a lot of his practice in Australia. He is a gentleman who is black. And he came out a few days ago saying he vehemently supports Joe Rogan. 100% stands by him. And sure enough, a day later, after Israel Adesanya comes out in defense of Joe Rogan, some tweets were uncovered that were, painted Israel in not such a good way. So, more evidence, more stuff showing that it clearly is a hit job. Anyone coming out in support of Joe Rogan, the media's out there to destroy. They got all these Amber Huxleys digging through everything, every nook and cranny, every second of what they've ever done to try to discredit these people that are in support of Joe Rogan. Anyone that comes out in support of canceling Joe Rogan, their voices get amplified. Just like when they talked about how there was 270 doctors and medical professionals, and out of those 270 medical doctors and medical professionals, only a handful were actual legitimate doctors. The rest were janitors and nurses. You want to talk about misinformation, misleading stuff. These are perfect examples of what they are, but they, for whatever reason, the mainstream sources are not held to the same standard that they expect everyone else to be held out. It's a complete joke, and it's hilarious. All right, let's see. We're 40 minutes in. I want to play you guys one of the earliest Joe Rogan. I'm not even gonna say earliest. The very first Joe Rogan podcast. His platform, he started doing his podcast. He just recorded it off his laptop. He was getting high and drinking with his friends, talking shit. And he has said it. He never expected it to grow into the behemoth that it is now today. Joe Rogan, you can argue, is globally known, a globally recognized name. And to see his humble beginnings is pretty cool. It's an inspiration to people like myself. But it goes to show, you get too big, the forces that be will want to shut you down at whatever the cost. So I want to play this clip for you guys here. Where you at, buddy? All right. All right. Sorry. Okay, there we go. All right. So this clip is from the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, episode number 1 from December of 2009. And it's pretty cool. I'm just going to play like a minute. And this is 10 minutes in. They didn't even realize that they were live streaming. They were just recording, playing around with the setup. Very first episode. Very organic. And it's awesome to see how much he's grown in just over a decade. But let me play this clip for you.
It's like a really trippy stash box. And some guy made it to me and gave it to me after one of his shows. I wish I knew the dude's name because it's very cool. And the box has like a little place where you would keep your tobacco. And then she made me this killer little pipe. And he made... I'll get it away from the snowflakes so you can see. But whoever they are, if they're watching this, highly unlikely. But if nobody's watching this. We have 10 people in here.
Mm-hmm. Nah.
Does it show 113 already? Wow. Okay. This is like 113 people is like a show at a comedy club. Now I feel pressure.
Isn't that weird?
113 people is like we have to be entertaining. So Let's read the Twitter feed and see what the fuck is up, bitches. Let's see the stats.
Oh crap. Sorry. I had myself on mute for quite a while, and I was giving a little speech. So I did not finish. I just went on a huge rant and you guys didn't hear it. My bad. Let me see if I can remember. I muted myself. So essentially what I had said on this epic rant, it probably won't be as epic now because it's the second time. But essentially what I said was, it's awesome to see the humble beginnings of the Joe Rogan podcast and see where it is right now. And to see the competitors like CNN, chiefly and namely, slander him, it's almost comical because they'll come out and say that they don't understand, and they realize that they won't get Joe Rogan's audience to ever come onto their side, and they don't understand it. Well, to folks like me, it's very easy to understand. Joe Rogan is as honest as anyone on the mainstream media. When I say he's honest, doesn't mean he gets everything right or that he's right all the time, but he's not lying. And that is something that you can't say out of any of these mainstream sites. They purposely mislead you through titles, clickbait, all this other nonsense. And it's done on purpose. They are deceitful, dishonest characters. And Joe Rogan, even when he's wrong, he tries to be as honest as he possibly can. And this is why the masses, this is why people like myself gravitate to a show like Joe Rogan's podcast, because he speaks from the heart and people can tell he's being as straight up as he can be. And these other sources, nope, no way in hell. So sorry about that little mute. Sorry about that little mute episode I went there. But hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to me on Odysee and follow me on your favorite podcast player, where we have tons and tons of more content. If you are new to this YouTube channel and you only see a handful of episodes, you are missing a lot. There's a lot more content on the other side. So follow the links there, everyone. And let's see. What's up, Demelza? Haven't seen you in a while. What's up, Kelly? What's up, Miss Empress? Hell yeah. Who else we got up in here? Angelina. Who else came in here? Amy W. Hell yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming in. Everyone's laughing because I had myself on mute. I did have an epic rant, goddammit, and unfortunately, I muted it. So that's why the continuation was a little bit more mellow. But maybe that's good. I didn't have to bust anyone's eardrums, but I did go on a little bit of a rant. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And like I said, if you guys want the whole shebang, the whole enchilada, you know what I'm saying? You guys want the chile con carne, just go to my Odysee. Links are in the live chat by the lovely Missy or in the description. So thank you guys so much. Much love. Love you so much, Miss Heb, you amazing human being, and all you awesome mod squads and everyone else. Also, before I leave, we do have a exquisite Facebook group. Link is in the description. Answer the questions, goddammit. If you need to voice verify, and we'll let you in. God damn it. Baby Rebozo. Joe Rogan exposed. You know what? A lot of people have tried to expose him. So I know he's not perfect. He's a human being. And that's fine. You can agree. You can feel that way, Mr. Bebe Rebozo. I am a huge fan, and I will continue to be a fan, even though he does have faults. I agree. But we're all humans, goddammit. We all are humans. No one is perfect at the end of the day. All right, y'all. Much love, hugs, and kiss.